Kile wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
I said let's get to work.
Hey, a little girl, it's a gift for you. You know, respect goes both ways. If the aim was to let the teacher go quietly, how come there are so many stories about his departure? How come? Something is amiss, eh? Something is amiss.
I can confidently say I have learned nothing, and I am confident it is going to get worse before it gets better.
How about who are you?
I am Mr. Fridge.
What sort of a stupid name is that? What did you do to piss off your parents like that?
Introduced with good intentions, but turned out otherwise.
Hii mbegu ilikuwa tunafurahia kabisa tukiona kwa sababu hapa ilikuwa ni jangwa.
The invasive species that has turned into the proverbial poison apple.
It indicates that actually there were no studies being done to show that it will later be problematic.
Join Sarafina Robi this Sunday as she unravels the dangers of this plant that has had even livestock move to court to seek justice. Mathenge, the poison apple.
Oya, umeupdate token mita yako? Ni free. Umesapota SMS kutoka Kenya Power? Sawa. Sasa ni kuweka code 1 kureset. Alafu weka code 2 kuupdate. Karada, mtozi kulipishe. Usiachwe gizani nani. Update token mita yako leo. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Kenya Power and Lighting Company.
Well, it is exactly at the top of the hour, or 2 minutes or so to the top of the hour. Welcome to Sunday Express. Today we're focusing on the president who has just jetted back into the country. What was the deal between Germany and Kenya? Also, a focus on the country's second in command who was in Kirinyaga County. As well as this evening, our focus will be on cancer, especially among the children, robbing us of our next generation, especially after 3,200 new cases are recorded annually. In studio, we'll be having a live session with none other than Dr. Daniel Butorire, a medical officer at the Clinical Oncology Department of the Texas Cancer Center. We have that and so much more in store for you, including a special piece. So first things first, let's get our top stories tonight. Crack the whip. A section of UDA legislators want the president to rein in on state officers engaging in politics. Slow down on politics. DP Rigathi Gachagua tells leaders from Mount Kenya region to quit politicking and focus on service delivery. And the poisonous apple. Tonight we feature the oxymoron of Mathenge plant. Is it a blessing or a curse? Welcome once more back to our broadcast. My name is Abdiaziz. Hashim, the sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Baron Abuli. I'm holding down the fort for our very own, that is John Jacob Kuria and Regina Manyara. And we start off on that particular note where a section of Kenya Kwanza leaders have urged President William Ruto to crack the whip on some state officers whom they claim have gone rogue. The leaders who accompanied President William Ruto for a church service at the Stewards Revival Pentecostal Church in Nairobi County stated that the administration should speak in one voice and concentrate in delivering its mandate to the electorate. President Ruto further urged leaders to forego 2027 succession politics. President William Ruto arrived into the country 6 a.m. on Sunday after completing his two-day state visit in Berlin, Germany.
Na wakati nilisema ya kwamba tutakuwa na nafasi ya vijana kwenda Kenya, kutoka Kenya kwenda Ujerumani, wengine wanisema sisemi ukweli. Lakini Ijumaa walijua kuna mpango.
The commander-in-chief hours later joined a congregation for a church service at the Stewards Revival Pentecostal Church in Nairobi County.
We will not let you down. We are going to change this country. Tumeitoa mahali ilikuwa bei ya unga ilikuwa 200, sasa ni 100. Unasema imefika 90. Na bado tunaisukuma.
President Ruto used the occasion to reveal some of the goodies he came back with from the European nation.
Na tayari nilikiwa kule Ijumaa hiyo, tayari wa Kenya walikuwa washafika wa kufanya kazi. Na isitoshe tarehe 27 ambaye ni kama wiki 2 zijazo, kutakuwa na recruitment ya kwanza ya vijana wa Kenya watakao kwenda kufanya kazi Ujerumani. Sasa tuko na mkataba ambayo vijana wa Kenya wataweza kufanya kazi wakiwa Kenya, kampuni za Ujerumani.
However, leaders accompanying the head of state used the opportunity to urge him to stamp his authority and call to order some of the state officers whom they claim are running amok.
Na sisi wengine tukaitwa hyenas. Unajua wengine tumeitwa barking dogs and you're the dog owner. But I want to tell your excellency, take heart. Haya mambo yote, yale majina yote utaitwa, yale matusi yote utatukanwa. Just get this country to the shore safely.
We support the broad-based agenda that we have for our country. Mtu asikutishe ati uangalie nyuma. Every Kenyan deserves to feel that they are part of the government.
The leader stated that the administration should speak in one voice to achieve its goals for the people.
the viper, the snake in your government, please shake it off. Shake it off, Your Excellency. Shake it off, not for your own sake so that it doesn't bite you. Shake off the snake on your hand so that your hand may do what the Lord purposed that hand to do.
Vile Ishungu amesema, take full control. We don't want to be derailed. Sisi tunafanya kazi kwa mpangilio.
President Ruto noted that he will ensure that those who have lost faith in what the administration is trying to achieve will be aided back to the right trajectory.
Na msikiwe na wasiwasi na wale ambao wamepoteza imani. Unajua kuna watu wengine wanasema hii haiwezi kufanyika, hiyo sijui ni uongo, ile hata haiwezi kufanyika. Mimi ni mtu naelewa neno la Mungu.
Shortly after the Nairobi church service, the president and a host of leaders joined congregants at the African Independent Pentecostal Church of Africa in Nyeri County. Here, the president called for unity of purpose among the leaders and forego 2027 politics.
Maneno ya 2027. Tafadhali, tupunguze mambo ya 2027. Huko 2027 ni Mungu na wananchi ndio wataamua.
To the neighboring Kirinyaga County, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on Sunday implored leaders from the Mount Kenya region to stop high-octane politics and focus on their respective duties in development. Addressing a faithful of Our Lady of Sorrows Baricho Catholic Parish in Kirinyaga County at Baricho Primary School grounds after the Sunday Holy Mass marking celebration of the parish, Gachagua urged leaders to focus on the government's development agenda.
Amid heated political debate on political realignments and heavy criticism directed to the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua on Sunday joined faithfuls in Kirinyaga for a church service for centenary celebrations. It is here that the DP answered his opponents plotting against him, urging leaders to put a hold on politicking and focus on development.
Hii ni wakati ya kazi. As far as I know, uchaguzi uliisha. Ama iko uchaguzi? The next election is 2027. Nyinyi watu ya Baricho, mlinipatia kura tukiwa na rais. Vile governor amesema kila mtu afanye kazi yake. Rais apewe nafasi afanye kazi yake. Deputy President apewe nafasi afanye kazi yake.
Gachagua, who has been at the epicenter of heavy politicking, with some leaders plotting his impeachment, told off his critics, claiming the masses knew what to do and needed no guidance on who is best suited to lead them, as the development record will speak for itself come 2027.
Kila mtu ako na kazi yake. Wakati ukifika, watu watarudi kwa raia.
The leaders present at the event lauded the Deputy President over his efforts in uniting the country.
Sababu sisi tuliamuka asubuhi na mapema, tukachagua Rigiji na tukamchagua rais na kura 7 million kura, si ndio? Kwa hivyo huwezi tuambia tusiongee. Hawa ndio wamekula sakramenti, wamekula ya roho, wakule ya siasa sasa. Sababu ni watu wetu hawa. Mimi ningetaka kusema nimetoka mbali huko Kiambu. Na mimi ningetaka kusema Rigiji, you are our uniting factor. Mimi nitasimama na wewe, Kiambu inasimama na wewe. Na umekuwa ukiongea tuungane. Watu wanauliza tuungane aje na tushaungana. Kumbe ulikuwa umeona mbele. Kuna watu wanatumiwa kugawanya mulima.
Na sisi tunaomba kila kiongozi ambaye yako hapa amechaguliwa mlima aheshimu Rigiji. Tunajua walienda kule Nyahururu wakafanya declaration. Wakasema wanafanya mikataba. Sisi tunaambia hawa wananchi 2027 ndio wataamua.
This is Environment, Climate Change and Forestry CS Eden Duale, who spoke in Garissa, hit out at a section of leaders whom he accused of advancing what he termed as tribal politics.
You have a choice to leave all government and spearhead the interests of your community and sectarian interests, or you have a choice to live by the oath of office you have taken.
For Sunday Express, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Still on the political front, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka is calling on the president to be sincere about asking politicians not to campaign but instead focus on service delivery. Kalonzo, who spoke in Kirinyaga County today, said that the Mount Kenya division narrative is a well-orchestrated plan for the 2027 pre-elections campaign, which he is urging the mountain not to fall for. In Kakamega County, Governor Fernandes Baraza now wants the Orange Democratic Movement ODM party to refrain from interfering with Kakamega County Assembly affairs. Baraza says the county has capable leaders who get their mandate from the electorate and not external forces. These stories and others is in our political watch.
Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has urged residents of Mount Kenya region to be wary of a narrative that is being pushed to divide their votes ahead of the 2027 election.
Mkisikia kuna shida in Mount Kenya region ya kugawanya the region mara mbili, mjue that is a strategy by William Ruto ya kupanga 2027.
Addressing a congregation at the St. Joseph's Church, Kadongo, in Mwea constituency in Kirinyaga County, Kalonzo faulted the president for what he says is early campaigns while asking other politicians not to do so.
Lakini anamlaunch leo State House na kesho Ruto anajilaunch Kisumu. And everything William Ruto is doing is campaigning for 2027.
Elsewhere, Kakamega County Governor Fernandes Baraza has urged the Central Management Committee of ODM Party to stop micromanaging the affairs of Kakamega County Assembly.
I want to ask and request the leadership of ODM, please don't be soaked in the politics of Kakamega.
Elsewhere, Kampani leaders and locals say the region feels left out of government, urging the president to rethink his working relationship with the area.
Na sisi kama county tunajisikia tumetengwa wakati hatuna mtu mmoja katika national government.
Nani alijua nitakuwa waziri? Hata mimi mwenyewe siwadangani, sikujua.
And finally, the people of Imenti have raised concerns over what they claim is systemic marginalization of the region. They have claimed that there are instances where certain public figures from the region have been discriminated against, saying it goes against the principles of fairness and meritocracy.
We urge the government to review and strengthen its anti-marginalization and anti-discrimination laws. This will ensure that there is no region or sub-region that is marginalized on development.
And away from the political limelight, a family from Dandora Phase 5 in Nairobi County is appealing for financial support to cater to their kin's treatment. Malvin Musungu, 27 years of age, is physically disabled and is fully dependent on his parents. Doctors have, however, advised that he takes physiotherapy sessions, which can help significantly improve the quality of his life. Musungu's family is, however, unable to raise the funds needed and are asking well-wishers to come to their aid.
At Dandora Phase 5 in Nairobi County, we meet 27-year-old Malvin Musungu and his mother. From a distance, Malvin looks healthy until he attempts to walk. But what is the story behind Malvin's condition?
Wakati nilimpata after nilifanywa CS, after 3 days nikaletewa mtoto. Nikauliza daktari mtoto wangu ali na afanye chochote na amki. Daktari akaniambia mtoto wako alikuwa na hakulia wakati alitoka kwa tumbo. Iliitwa prolonged labor. So mtoto hakulia na hiyo ni shida, atakuwa polepole.
The distressed mother, who also admits that she has fallen into depression due to her son's condition, says that she had to quit her job to attend to her son.
Sai Malvin ako na 27 years. Mtu anatakana ako na bibi, ako na watoto. Amefanya mimi niko kwa nyumba. Niko tu naye throughout. Mtu anakuuliza swali unashindwa utamjibu nini? Mchungu. Tumejaribu, nimezunguka kwa watu wote wenye wanasemanga wanashughulika na disability. Kuna mtu anatusaidia, tunaambiwa bedridden. Naoni mtoto amefanya, nimewacha kazi.
She shares how hard it has been raising Malvin due to the stigma and stereotypes associated with disability in society.
Kuna wale umezaliwa nao, kuna cousins wake, hata kuna mtu anaweza kuja kuuliza Malvin anaendelea aje. Ama siku moja tu aseme, acha tu nikakuoshe ama hakuna, unabaki tu peke yako kama mzazi.
In an emotional plea, Agnes says she has exhausted all her resources to fund her son's physiotherapy sessions.
Sababu ukimwacha kwa nyumba utakuta maiti. So, kama naweza pata usaidizi wowote. Sangu ni tu ametembea.
Akal chini kutoka asubuhi jioni. Na nikiona inaumanga ingine.
Despite the doctor's recommendations that Malvin will require at least 2 more years of treatment, estimated to cost 500,000 Kenyan shillings, she now finds herself with nothing left to continue the care Malvin desperately needs. To assist Malvin's family, you can channel your contribution through his mother's cell phone number 0792707980. Agnes Dindi Mutisia. Opicha Chemtai for Sunday Express.
Well, there you have it. That is a heart-wrenching story there. Thank you so much, Opicha Chemtai, for sharing the story of that particular family. That is the number that you can reach out to, 0792707980. Agnes Dindi Mutsia is the mother. You can reach out, of course. However small the contribution, it will go a long way. Elsewhere, President William Ruto has said the government will stand with the parents who lost their children in the tragic Hillside Academy inferno in Nyeri County that led to the death of 21 students. Speaking at the African Independent Pentecostal Church of Africa in Nyeri County, the head of state assured that the government will help the families with burial preparations. The president also allocated 2 million Kenya shillings to cater to students whose property was razed by the September 5th night inferno. Now, investigations into the tragic incident are still ongoing.
Najua tulipata matatizo wiki iliyopita hapa Endarasha na gavana amenieleza, tulituma msaada wa serikali, amesema kuna sehemu kidogo imebaki ya upungufu. Huyu mjumbe wa pale Bwana Wainaina yuko hapa. Kwa wale watoto ambao waliteketea katika moto, tutapanga mazishi yao na wazazi wao. Wale biti yao ilichomeka, gavana ameniambia kuna wanafunzi karibu 140 hivi. Kwa hivyo Bwana Wainaina, wewe ndio mtu yetu ya mkono ya pale. Kama mbunge wa pale Kieni, nitakutuma tena leo na shilingi 2,000,000 ununulie wale watoto wote wale viti yao ilichomeka. Mimi vile vile nitatafuta huyo Bwana Kinywa ambaye alitengeneza hiyo shule na anasaidia watoto wengi. Baada ya investigation kukamilika, tuone pia vile tunaweza kusaidia hiyo shule ndio iweze kutupatia nafasi ya kufundisha watoto wetu.
Also, the Speaker of the National Assembly has called upon the House Business Committee to prioritize the reconstitution of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IBC, among the key agendas for consideration when the House resumes this Tuesday after a month-long recess. Speaking at a Sunday church service in Jepukwa Catholic Church in Bungoma County, Moses Wetangula noted that there is need to expedite the reconstitution of the electoral body to ensure by-elections elections and boundary delimitation are done ahead of the 2027 polls. Speaker Wetangula also called on the Chief Justice to expedite court cases related to the IEBC to avoid further disruption of the process, with calls for the formulation of the IEBC selection panel, Parliament through a Parliamentary Service Commission, and the Law Society of Kenya are expected to name their representatives in the selection panel. The parliamentary process for selecting new IEBC members stalled following a tribunal court's order preventing Parliament from forwarding any names to President William Ruto.
Priority business includes the possibility of finishing up the reconstitution of IEBC. The country has gone without IEBC for a long time, and I take this opportunity to encourage those who have been making challenges in court to stall the process of having a selection panel for IEBC, to rethink their minds and give way for this noble cause. Because the country cannot go to the next elections without boundary review, without boundary delimitation, and without holding by-elections of the constituencies that are already vacant, either by way of resignation, death, or court processes. We also have many wards that have got vacancies that need to have by-elections. And as you know, the Supreme Court has directed that IEBC means commissioners and not the Secretariat. So without commissioners, we cannot move. I also want to appeal to the Chief Justice that all the cases that are in court legitimately challenging this process, please fast-track them, give them priority so that we can be able to finish them and have an IEBC in place.
And on that note, we're taking a first commercial break. But when we come back, we'll be focusing on our interview that I told you about. We're focusing on cancer among children, especially with 3,200 new cases reported among kids every year here in the country. And of course, that and so much more. Already our guest, Dr. Daniel Butorire, medical officer at the Clinical Oncology Department of the Texas Cancer Center, is already here with us in studio. So don't go too far. Also talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 1.
Officially, the draw date ya Master Player ni tarehe 6 mwezi wa Oktoba. Zidi kucheza, jaza tiketi zako ikiwa ni *570# option 400. Tucheze, tusaidie, tushinde!
Siku zinasonga sambamba na matukio yanavyojiri.
Kuyajua hayo, mbali na hamasa zilizopo kwingineko, shirika la utangazaji KBC limejitolea kuhakikisha ubora wa matangazo yasiyo na chuku.
Darubini huangazia mengi ya kusini na kaskazini, mashariki na magharibi, na kukuwasilishia kwa njia stahiki.
Ufasaha, usawa, uketo, pasipo kuegemea upande wowote.
Iwapo hutakishaka kwa unachoarifiwa, Darubini itakidhi mahitaji yako.
Jina langu ni Nancy Onyancha.
Na mimi ni Harith Salim.
Jina langu ni Gladys Mungai.
Mimi ni Ahmed Jumabalo.
Nami ni Sarafina Robi.
KBC, angazo la Wakenya.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, a section of a civil society organization has called on the government to effect the changes on the process of the IEBC reconstitution as envisaged in the NADCO report. Led by Transparency International Executive Director Sheila Masinde, the organization under the umbrella of Uchaguzi Platform also faulted what they claimed as police-instigated violence meted out on the public protesters during the recent protest, saying the move infringes the public space peace and the democracy of Kenyans. They spoke during the commemoration of the International Day of Freedom here in the capital.
Exercising these freedoms and rights is fundamental for a functioning democracy and protecting human rights in Kenya. While the freedoms and rights are not absolute, limitations prescribed by law should be those that necessitate a democratic society and are justifiable based on human dignity, equality, and freedom.
That a number of electoral units have remained unrepresented for a period now because of the absence of members of County Assembly Ward and National Assembly. The continued uncertainty on when to conduct the above-mentioned by-elections may lead to the disenfranchisement of the respective residents of these electoral areas.
Urgently address the litigations relating to the issuance of ID cards so that citizens can continue to access relevant government services as well as exercise their democratic right to vote.
And now to a special excerpt this evening. Imported from foreign lands to Kenya in 1983 with good intentions to end desertification, Prosopis juliflora, commonly known as Mathenge plant, has turned into the proverbial poison apple. The plant is now edging out indigenous species, including grass, putting the ecosystem at danger as it continuously reduces arable land. Our reporter Sarafina Robi takes us through the introduction of Mathenge plant, its spread across different parts of the country, and the factors aiding its spread.
A goat in court. At Kenya's Milimani Law Courts, seeking justice to no end against an invasive species that was and still is costing its life and that of other livestock made headlines in 2013. The case is that of an invasive species called Prosopis juliflora, colloquially known in Kenya as Mathenge.
Kuna wakati tuliona hii mbegu sasa imekuwa tatizo kwa sisi community hii ya James. Sasa sehemu hii tambarare ya chini hapa ndio kwenda kushitaki.
Na ruling ya court ni kwamba umanage hii mti.
It was first documented in the country in 1973 at Bamburi in Mombasa. In the years that followed, more individual plants were introduced until cultivation on a large and extensive scale in 1983 in Baringo County and the Bura region, Taita Taveta. A drive down to Eldume in Baringo County to ascertain the situation, we met 75-year-old Philip Ledida under a towering tree with stems that grow in a jagged fashion and a bark with grey-green color that has become rougher and scalier with time. Ledida was 30 years old when the Prosopis juliflora, also known as Mathenge, was first introduced in Baringo in 1983 to fight desertification.
Watu ya forest walianza kuleta mbegu, walianza kututa hapa forest station Marigat. Ndio sasa hapa Eldume ndio tukaanza kupanda. Huu mti ambayo tuko sahi chini yake ndio wa kwanza hapa. Tulileta hiyo miche kupanda, ndio huu mti sahi ukiona tuko naye. Hata hakuna mtoto ilisaliwa kwa hao watoto sasa wangu ukiona hapa.
At inception, it was a celebrated idea by the community.
Hii mbegu ilikuwa tunafurahia kabisa tukiona kwa sababu hapa ilikuwa ni jangwa. Ilikuwa mahali ya mmonyoko, mchanga ilikuwa ikipasuka ovyo mara tu mvua ikinyesha.
Aside from Baringo, we also take a tour in one of the most affected counties at the coastal part of Kenya, Tana River County, which exhibits a colony of the invasive species Mathenge. The locals talk of how floods have contributed to the widespread of Mathenge.
Sasa wakati maji yakija, mvua ikinyesha, hizi Mathenge zinazaa kiwango ambacho hakifai. Paka inabidi mtu akitaka kulima, paka angangane na hiyo Mathenge, akate ndio apate sehemu ya kulima.
After the floods, you have the emergence of what we call pioneer species. And most of the pioneer species actually are invasive species, because those species can easily colonize that area because they are very competitive, they are very adaptive, and they are very resilient.
In Baringo, the seeds were mostly spread by livestock.
Lakini kutoka huu miti aanze kusambaa na kuenea sehemu yote kama vile ilivyosambazwa na hii kinyesi ya mifugo, mahali watakula, wanamwaga mbegu huko, mahali wanalala, ndio huu miti ikaanza sasa kwa wingi.
Dr. Mutuku Musili, a senior research scientist at the National Museum, speaks of the dangers of invasive species in rangelands.
The problem with invasive species is that they will just take over, they will colonize, and they will not allow other plants to thrive. We need to plant trees, but not any tree. We need to look for example, indigenous trees. Right now in Kenya, we are talking about 15 billion trees. But we need also to think about what trees are we going to plant. And in some places, we found that actually the invasive species were taking over 60% of the space. And we find that now people didn't have places to graze their cattle anymore. Wildlife did not have food anymore, so to speak. And some of the species that were aged out, they could be medicinal plants, they could be fruits, they could be useful plants. They are no longer there. So people can no longer now access those plants.
Both residents of Baringo and Tana River County are in agreement as they decry the menace that is the Mathenge plant.
Hata inatuharibia mashamba na mji.
Wakikula, wakienda, wakinya hicho kinyesi chao, itakuwa ni Mathenge inazaa.
Ikachinda ng'ombe kumaliza kabisa hii nini kwa meno yake. Ndio ikaanza kuharibu meno ya ng'ombe, mbuzi, na ngoa meno, na kucheua kwake inakuwa tena ni shida kwa sababu sasa ile nyasi ambayo chakula ng'ombe amemesa huwezi kucheua tena kwa sababu imekuwa na gamu.
Ile matunda yake ng'ombe akikula ama mbuzi inarudi kwa sumu na kuharibu na hakuna tiba. Pia Mathenge imeanza kufunga mito, maji inaleta floods, inafunga maji siende bahari kwa wingi, na imeleta madhara ya watu kuhamishwa na kuwa displaced.
This begs the question on whether there was enough research before the introduction of the Mathenge plant in the country.
It indicates that actually there were no studies that have been done to show that it will later be problematic. So there was no enough research before they were introduced. If they are let in the world, they are going to affect us. Today, there's a lot of them. If you go to Tana River, there's a lot of them. As you go now, they are more of a dry, eastern side.
It was not until 2008 when President William Ruto, who was then the Kenyan Minister for Agriculture, declared the species noxious. Even though the Mathenge plant has been used by locals before to produce charcoal, the Kenyan government instituted a moratorium on unlicensed logging and charcoal production. However, in places like Garissa County, the species is used in making briquettes.
We have come up with this very innovative solutions where these invasive species, these shrubs, are getting turned into briquettes, which the communities are now using for their day-to-day household fuel consumption.
So we are using this tree to carbonize it. After we carbonize, we convert that carbonized briquettes as a biomass. We add value and convert that into the briquettes that you see that we have been able to introduce to the community.
A source of energy that is considered sustainable.
It has high calorific value, which means the heat level is very high that it can cook any kind of food. The other value that it has is that it burns for over 4 hours. And using such kind of low quantity energy for 4 hours, you can use cookings in your homes, in your institutions within the shortest time, within the longest time possible.
However, those affected still seek ways of removing and extinguishing the plant.
What has been attempted actually is physically removing them. I'm not aware of any biological or chemical control that has taken place elsewhere because there are no resources. There is no funding for that. The government needs to really see to it that it considers providing funds to research institutions like National Museums of Kenya.
Aside from people and livestock, other natural resources such as River Takwel and River Tana, including Tana River Primate National Reserve and Arawali National Reserve, and the Loitikipi Plains are particularly sensitive ecosystems that are now threatened by Prosopis juliflora or Mathenge. Scientists and researchers now warn of an imminent danger that lies in the loss of a certain species, especially indigenous species, due to effects of climate change such as floods and drought. The big question to most governments is what measures are they putting in place to prevent this imminent danger of the loss of biological diversity. Serafina Robi for KBC Channel 1 from the National Museum of Kenya in Nairobi.
Officially, the draw date ya Master Player ni tarehe 6 mwezi wa Oktoba. Zidi kucheza, jaza tiketi zako ikiwa ni *570 hash option 400. Tucheze, tusaidie, tushinde!
Umeupdate token mita yako? Ni free. Umeshapata SMS kutoka Kenya Power? Sawa. Sasa ni kuweka code 1 kureset. Alafu weka code 2 kuupdate. Karada mtozi kulipishe. Usiachwe gizani nani. Update token mita yako leo. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Kenya Power and Lighting Company.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to our interview portion where our focus today is about cancer, especially in young children. The National Cancer Institute of Kenya in a report indicated that 70% of the cancer cases are diagnosed at advanced stages, with 2 out of 3 persons succumbing to the disease. Now the institute further notes that every year up to 3,200 new cancer cases among children are recorded. The institute further revealed that only 3 out of the 10 children diagnosed with cancer annually in the country survive. Now, some of the leading counties where these cases are highly recorded are here in the capital, Nakuru, Kiambu, Machakos and Nyeri. Now, joining us this evening to talk to us and where as a country are we in terms of dealing with this killer disease is none other than Dr. Daniel Butorire, a medical officer at the Clinical Oncology Department of the Texas Cancer Center. Daktari, welcome to our studios.
Thank you so much, Hashim, for having me.
Welcome, Daktari. And my first question to you will be, this is a report based off the National Cancer Institute 21-22. Yes. Do we have the latest statistics, especially from the Cancer Center?
Unfortunately, childhood cancers are not as much in Kenya compared to other countries. Even when I was going through the latest statistics of what we call the global statistics of 2022, which usually gives us the statistics for the whole countries where Kenya is among them, you find that among the top 5 cancers, actually childhood cancer doesn't feature as the major cancer in this country. But having said so, yeah, still we have cancer cases in children which we are seeing in this country. Looking at the WHO statistics, it says that every year between a child between the age of 0 to 9, about 400,000 cases worldwide are reported in this as to have cancer in the world. So looking at the cases in this country, we don't have as much. But yes, we have a few reported cases, especially where we are talking of leukemias. Leukemias are leading in terms of cancers that affect children in this country, followed by retinoblastoma. This is a cancer that affects the eye, and then the cancers that affect the kidney, what we call the Wilms tumor, or what we call the cancer or nephroblastoma of the kidney. So those are some of the cancers that we are seeing affecting most of the children in this country.
But Daktari, there is a worrisome here, given that inherited childhood cancer account for 5 to 10% of such cases. So is this preventable, especially at a younger age like that?
Unfortunately, majority of childhood cancers, as you have said, we don't know the exact cause. Only about 5 to 10% that we can link to a certain inherited genetic mutation. It means that there is a genetic mutation in a parent's makeup that was passed down to the kids, and this one we can link them directly and find it say in their children who are having cancer, especially the cancer like we are talking of retinoblastoma. There is a gene, a mutated gene, which we call retinoblastoma gene, that is actually directly linked to such cancers. But when you are looking at these other cancers like the leukemias, which are leading actually in this country, we cannot specifically pinpoint and say that this is the cause of their cancer. And as opposed to adults, we say that when you age, that aging actually helps in destroying or aids in destroying the DNA makeup that causes mutation and have predisposing adults to certain types of cancer. Also, there are what we call carcinogen exposure. If you're exposed to a certain type of carcinogen for a long period of time, actually you can develop cancer. But this is actually totally different in children because we cannot find that direct link, especially aging and exposure to carcinogens. So research has been very, very, very scanty when we try to look at what is the exact cause of cancer in children, that we can actually point and focus on that as a point of prevention of cancer.
Now, as an expert in that field, where are we as a country in terms of dealing with this killer disease?
Remember, in the ages of 1970s, actual childhood cancers were a death sentence. But as you clearly said, currently we are able to push this percentage to about 30%, such that if you get children with cancer who are diagnosed with childhood cancer, that at least we are able to treat 30% of them. And the reason why we are not able to treat or to achieve what the developed countries have been able to achieve, actually the developed countries have been able to push their survival rates to about 80%. And this is mainly because of early diagnosis. So as a country, we have been making small strides towards achieving these cure rates. Look at WHO framework of 2018. They say that we want to push this survival rate at least by the age, the year 2030 to about 60%. So we have been making slow but good progressive strides towards attaining survival rates in cancers of children.
And you know, with that burden, Daktari, if parents as well as families that are out there, they hear it is cancer, you know, cost is a major factor.
True.
So when it comes to cost, what do parents require, and especially how much are they likely to spend if their loved ones are ever affected with this disease?
Actually, if you look at the factors that actually has made some of our survival rates to go down to less than 30%. One of them is cost, as we said, and late diagnosis. So cost is a very, very important factor when it comes to access to services for cancer. So, but we have seen a very deliberate effort by the government at least to allow people to use NHIF card to access cancer services. Majority
SHIF.
Now we are moving to SHIF. Majority of our patients actually who are able to access treatment are these patients who are able to access the NHIF services. But when you talk of out of pocket, then cancer treatment becomes very expensive, and it cannot be afforded by most of our parents.
Now, some of the treatments that especially kids and people who are suffering from cancer undergo, we know it is surgery, chemo, radiation, but we know the pains that are involved with chemo especially. So are there alternatives that this small kids who are suffering from this illness can opt for aside from chemo?
Of course, you've mentioned surgery and radiotherapy as part of alternatives to chemotherapy. When we talk of childhood cancers, leukemias are mainly blood cancer. And therefore, the mainstay of treatment there will be chemotherapy. Alternative will be bone marrow transplant. And then for those cancers that occurs as solid tumor, especially the retinoblastoma, the cancer that affect the eye, and the nephroblastoma, the cancer that affect the kidney. These are solid tumors that can easily be treated by surgery. And you don't have to travel all the way from up country to Nairobi to access this treatment. Our general surgeons are well trained to be able to tackle these cancers in way of surgery. Then these kids can be sent now to cancer centers where they can access additional treatment, be it chemotherapy or radiotherapy.
And Dr. as we're coming to the end of our conversation, we want to focus on the other issue which has been cropping up of late. Are there other alternatives, especially when it comes to treatment? Because we've seen many Kenyans opting to go outside the country as opposed to getting treatment here.
That medical tourism has been a big problem in our country. But initially, people used to travel outside because of services like PET scan. But now, currently, as we are talking, we have PET scan services available in this country. Another thing that used to lead to a lot of tourism of our patients to other countries like India used to be bone marrow transplant. But as we are speaking, currently we are able to perform bone marrow transplant in our country. So it's just lack of awareness and lack of information. People don't have that information that actually these services that they are seeking from outside, they are available and easily accessible in our country. Yes.
And what are some of the cropping challenges that the government needs to address? Not just the government, but also in the private sector. They need to ensure they are addressed so that at the end of the day, when it comes to medication of such young people, at the end of the day, is facilitated.
Of course, facilities, more facilities. Like now we have moved to county level. At least every county should have a cancer, government cancer center, where people can access these services, and not just services of chemotherapy alone, because we are seeing a lot of improvement in counties where chemotherapy is able to be offered in many counties. But machines for radiotherapy, machines for and even services like bone marrow transplant are only available in Nairobi. So if we can be able to improve on facilities. Another thing is training of more health practitioners or cancer specialists who can be able to move to these counties and assist in treatment of these cancers. Another thing is to be able to make medicines available and affordable for our patients.
Dr. give us your final remarks, and of course tell us where we headed as a country. Is this cancer, people are going to get affordable medication attentions when, at the end of the day, their loved ones are befelt with this disease?
First and foremost, I also wanted to say that I'm a member of Kenya Society of Hematology and Oncology. And Kenya Society of Hematology and Oncology, KESHO, hosts conferences and also continuous medical education in order to make sure that we improve the skills of cancer practitioners in diagnosis and implementation of cancer services. And for this, Kenya Society of Hematology and Oncology has organized an international conference. It is called Kenya International Cancer Conference, dubbed as KICC 2024, that will be held in November from 21st to 23rd, and registration is currently ongoing, so that people can come and listen to the new technologies that are available in terms of treating cancer. And for the government, I think we still continue to urge the government to allow people to access these social insurance services so that they can be able to access actually the medical facilities and in terms of cancer treatment.
Okay, thank you so much. That is Dr. Daniel Buttereri, a medical officer at the Clinical Oncology Department of the Texas Cancer Center. Thank you for joining us this evening, Daktari. And of course, the conversation continues, especially when the Ministry of Health confirmed that cancer will be, of course, covered under the Social Health Insurance Fund once the fund is up and running, and that will be on the 1st of October 2024. Now, elsewhere, women have been advised to prioritize their mental and emotional well-being both at work and at home to stem the rising cases of distress within the community. Employers are also being urged to create a favorable atmosphere at the workplace that allows for employees' productivity. Now, this comes as the health sector continues to report increased cases of mental health-related complications, especially among women.
With 23% of Kenyans either struggling with mental health or distress, according to a report released by Sapien Labs in March this year, and with other reports by the World Health Organization also pointing to a rise in mental health issues in the last 10 years, women in the country have been asked to make their mental well-being a priority at work and at home.
Everything starts with the mental health. Actually, mental health is the most important thing, because when you are not mentally okay, everything else will be bad.
As a HR professional, I have come to learn that setting goals should be aligned with the person's capacity as well.
During a one-day conference dubbed Elevated Woman Wellness Day, organized by Uni Global and Mindful Kenya, women were encouraged to deal with mental health issues by setting achievable goals, embracing mental health support groups, and seeking medical attention if the situation warrants it. Organizers also urged employers to put resources aside that can help boost the mental well-being of their employees and create a conducive environment that will make it possible for the employees to open up about challenges they may be facing.
If we create a safe space in the workplace, I think even productivity will not be an issue. Retention will not be an issue. Attraction of talent will not be an issue. So employers need to know that how you treat people is a brand. You see, you protect your organizational brand by treating people well and giving them a space where they can work.
Unique Global and Mindful Kenya is dedicated to promoting mental health awareness and accessibility in Kenya. Tilio Marco for Sunday Express.
And of course, I want to hand you over to the capable hands of our very own, that is Daniel Wahome. And of course, Wahome, I'm sure you know that the mighty Gunners were able to thrash their noisy neighbours with ease. That is Tottenham Hotspur. That was 1-0 at the Spurs Stadium.
I got that information while I was out on the beat. All right, so straight to the Sunday Express Sport today, where CAF President Patrice Motsepe arrived in the country Sunday ahead of the CAF Executive Committee scheduled for Monday in Nairobi. Upon arrival, the CAF President, in the company of CES Sports, Kipchumba Murkomen, and FKF President Nick Mwendwa, toured the stadium that will be used for next year's Championship of African Nations, CHAN, and the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. With approximately 6 months to the start of the Championship of African Nations, CHAN, CAF President Patrice Motsepe toured the stadium earmarked for the event and the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations in Nairobi. Motsepe inspected the ongoing works at the Kasarani, Nyayo and the Talanta City Stadia. Motsepe said that he would be back in the country in December when the ongoing works at Kasarani and Nyayo are expected to be complete.
I can see that there's a lot of very good progress that's been made. Of course, we still got a lot of work to be done, but what gives me all the confidence and what I'm so happy about is to see the huge amount of construction that has taken place. The stadiums are being built, and we are confident that we'll all be ready for the CHAN in February.
Sports Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen affirmed the government's support to the project.
Has actually been very grateful because of the constant support and we have received as a country from CAF. So we want to thank you. It's because of your leadership that we are actually where we are at the moment. We know that you're putting us under pressure, but it's for our personal good as a country to make us ready to host this very important tournament, the CHAN, and eventually also to be ready for the Africa Cup of Nations.
It's crossing the line that we need to cross the line because the support is there. And the government has been supporting us since 2 years ago.
The brand new Talanta Sports City is being built from scratch and is expected to be completed by December 2025. On Monday, Motsepe will chair a meeting of the CAF Executive Committee in Nairobi. The meeting is expected to ratify Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania as hosts of the next edition of the AFCON and also CHAN, confirm CAF's financial statements and make decisions on the hosts of the next women's and age grade competitions. A world record holder and three-time reigning Olympic winner Faith Kipyegon paddled her remarkable winning streak over 1,500 meters with a fifth Diamond League season title at the series finale in Brussels, Belgium. The winners in 16 disciplines earned a Diamond League trophy and 3.9 million shillings in cash prizes.
Away they go.
The 30-year-old Kipyegon, who has not lost over the distance since 2021, took the lead just before the final lap and then held off a challenge from Diribe Welteji to cross the line in 3 minutes and 54.75 seconds. Welteji clocked 3 minutes and 55.25 seconds to finish second. Olympic champion Beatrice Chebet nearly crashed into a photographer en route to her 5,000 victory. Chebet won Olympic gold in the 5,000 and 10,000 in Paris this year, cruised home in a time of 14 minutes and 9.82 seconds.
3:54.76, that meeting record has gone finally. Good riddance to that, we say. Well done, Faith Kipyegon.
Hii ni mara yangu ya 5 kuwin trophy ya Diamond League na mimi nafurahi sana, kuwin for the 5th time sio kitu rahisi. Kuna wanariadha chipukizi wanakuja na bado uko kuwin trophy. Yeah, it's a really good motivation actually.
The season with a bang kabisa. Ulisema ikimaliza lazima umalize vizuri.
Sijamaliza season, bado niko na one race more, New York, Atlas, yes. So bado niko huko na I hope to finish my season there na kwenda holiday.
Away from the rest, Wanyoni looks very, very tired. It's Arop who's hanging out there.
Kenya's Olympic champion Emmanuel Wanyonyi powered past Jamel Sejati of Algeria and Canada's Marco Arop to win the men's 800 race. Faith Cherotich held off Olympic and world champion Wilfred Yavi of Bahrain to win the women's 3,000 steeplechase. The winners in 16 disciplines earned a Diamond League trophy and 3.9 million shillings.
I thank God today because this race is very tough for me. It's a lot of pressure for me because it's the last race. I need to win this trophy. But I thank God for today, but weather is not good for me.
Legs there, mainly because they went so hard. See what he says there, tapping his head, saying...
For the 3-0 loss against 12-time CAF Champions League winners Al Ahly of Egypt in the first leg, second preliminary round of the CAF Champions League clash played Sunday at the Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi. Rami Rabia handed Al Ahly the lead on the quarter-hour mark before Pasitao scored a second a minute later. Gor Mahia's comeback efforts mounted to none as Ahly went on to seal their victory when Tao scored his second of the match and a third for the defending champions with 13 minutes to go. Gor Mahia have a mountain to climb when the two sides clash in the reverse fixture next Saturday in Cairo. The winner of the two-legged tie will qualify for the group stage of the competition.
Ilionekana hafifu, pasi Tau Moze! Unjani! Pasi hapa na Tahir. Pasi Tau anaenda kwa Wesam Abu Ali. Wesam anakwenda chini. Pasi Tau!
And Blue Rangers FC were crowned the champions of the PS Ismail Malim Soccer Tournament after beating Lagsure FC 4-2 through penalties in the final match played at the Takaba grounds in Mandera West Sub-County. A prize pass of 1.1 million shillings was awarded to the top teams from the 3 sub-counties, with each winning team receiving 200,000 shillings. Principal Secretary for Youth Affairs and the Creative Economy, Ismail Mali Made, who is the tournament's patron, reaffirmed the ministry's commitment to identifying, nurturing and monetizing talent across all corners of the country. A total of 66 clubs from Mandera South, Banisa and Mandera West participated in Phase 1, with the second phase scheduled for the December holidays targeting Mandera East, Mandera North and Lafayette sub-counties.
My plea to our young people in this region is you have the opportunity, you have the platform. Please make sure you don't hide your talent. Expose your talent so that you get identified, so that in order for you to get assisted to benefit from the talent that you hold, which each and every one of us has as different talent. Therefore, expose yourself. Don't be shy. We are ready to give you support.
An empty mind, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Kwa hivyo hii mashindano imeweza kuwa engage vijana na kuhakikisha kwamba wametumia wakati yao ya holiday vizuri.
Well, just apologies about our captions indicating that God had won by 3-0, while actually they were beaten 3-0. Now, KCBFC moved to the top of the FKF Premier League standings after beating Muranga Seal by 2-0 at the San Sebastian Park in Muranga. Hanif Wesonga fired the bankers into the lead at the stroke of halftime before Patrick Otieno added a second in stoppage time. Despite being reduced to 10 men after Kiprono Dennis was shown a yellow card, KCB held on to claim the crucial win that catapults them to the top of the table with 4 points. In other matches, Bandari beat visitors Mara Sugar by 1-0, while Posta Rangers defeated AFC Leopards by 1-0. Kakamega Homeboys and Amadare United battled to Berlin Red Mumias, while KCB now sit at the top of the standings after 2 rounds of the 2024-2025 season, 4 points, same as Kariobangi Sharks, Posta Rangers and Bandari, who are ranked in 2nd to 4th positions due to inferior goal aggregate. Kenya women's and men's bowling teams intensified their training at Nairobi Club ahead of the Africa Cup Championship slated for the 23rd to the 28th of September in Orapo, Botswana. The 2 teams, composed of 10 players, are set to depart for the championship on Thursday this week.
The 5-member ladies team will be captained by Eunice Mbogwa and will be targeting to register improved performance at the Africa Championship.
It will not be tough since we've been playing with the same teams from the other countries. We know how they play. So it's a matter of focusing well and also keeping in mind that we are there to win and everything should be flowing well.
The men's team, which also consists of 5 players, will be eyeing better results, with Captain James Ngogi expressing his belief in the squad.
Ready, this squad is ready to in this tournament, so that we can acquire more medals.
Kenya will be targeting to go one better at the games than they did in the previous championship, where the team won only 2 medals.
The rub of the green counts for a lot. But in order to be successful, you've got to be consistent. You have to be consistent in this game. And the more consistent you are, the more shots you're going to pull off and the more games you're going to win.
Everything is ready, and that motivates the team as they go, because they know that they are well taken care of.
Kenya will be using the championship to qualify for the forthcoming World Championship.
This could be seen by World Bowls to be the qualifying competition for the 2025 World Championships. And only the top 2 teams from this championship will qualify automatically for the World Championships.
A total of 6 countries, which include hosts Botswana, Zambia, South Africa, Namibia, and Kenya, have confirmed participation. Bernard Okumu, Prime Edition.
That's the sport for tonight. Remember, tomorrow, the CAF Executive Committee meeting is taking place in Nairobi. So that is what we will have our eyes on. And this is ahead of the Congress that takes place in the Democratic Republic of Congo later. Not so that we do not confuse the two events. Over to you, Abdiaziz Hashim.
Thank you so much, Daniel Wahome, for informing us what is happening in the world of sports. And of course, just right now, Wolves have been beaten by Newcastle 2-1 at the Molineux Stadium. That concluded game week 5 of the English Premier League. And that is where we put a cap to our evening. And do join us in our subsequent bulletins. That is tomorrow. You can always find more on our webpage at www.kbc.co.ke. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Byron Abuli. Good evening.
That you are full of lies, but you are not going to fool me again. And don't you even think that you're going to come out of this one alive. Where are you? Tell me. You should at least face me, you darn woman.
What are you saying? That you were expecting Rodrigo's baby? Tell me, why did you lie to me, Daddy? How could you make a fool out of me?
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who is the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani.
Sisi wakati tulikuwa tunapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Mtazamaji, tumekuandalia taarifa zinazogonga vichwa vya vyombo vya habari kutoka hapa jijini Nairobi na pia mashinani.
Wanahabari zaidi ya ubora wao wako ange kukuletea habari pindi zinapochipuka kutoka pembe zote za Kenya.
Kwenye kipindi cha Tamrini tunakuletea mazungumzo ya moja kwa moja kufafanua na kuangazia masuala yanayokuhusu wewe mtazamaji.
Kumbuka, taarifa yenye thamani daima hupokewa kwa amani.
Hivyo basi usikose kuungana nasi kila siku ya wiki.
Tukupakulie na tukutaarifu taarifa yenye mnato kwenye runinga unayoienzi. Kwenye kurunzi mashinani,
sisi DC.
Avieta imerahisishwa. Sasa kuna njia mpya na rahisi ya kucheza Avieta. Dial *419# kwenye simu yako na ucheze wakati wowote.
Chakula yenye nampea na mpira nitakula mati. Na unaona kama uchi nimpatie uchi hapa. Masiwa nimpea hapa. Hata hii masiwa nakosa. Hata hii uchi mimi nakosa. Na nini nachemsha maji namwekea tu maji hapa. Namwekea tu maji hapa. Sasa ninafanya nini? Tumana mtoto analia. Mimi hata sina kitu na sina mtu wa kunisaidia. Watu ukiongea na mtu anasema wewe kocha tu Mungu. Mimi sina kitu. Na baba hana kitu.